Okay, hello everybody. Let's try do a new stream. Yeah, I tried to prepare a bit, but I will never be ready. I will never be. The stream will not feel like it's good enough to start, so I just started it and we go as we go along. How is the sound? Okay, it looks to be okay. All right, let's go. We start with Venezuela, and after we do some other news as well. For today, December 1st, 2025. So let's fly to Venezuela. Of those of you who are watching the other stream of Venezuela crisis, the cameras, I can show you actually where the cameras are located. We are looking we have a camera looking at the port of Venezuela, and the other cameras here at the Trinidad and Tobago. It's not part of Venezuela actually, this, I just also found out, but it's very close to it, and actually it's one part that the USA is interested on these islands here. It's 2 islands. Anyways, so let's go with the news. Sounds good, okay. All right, so let's start with the news. I took from various sources. Here the first one is why the US on the verge of war with Venezuela. The US has been bombing alleged drug boats near Venezuela since September, while building up military force in the region to a level not seen since the Cold War. As we know, they move a lot of, they have F-35s, they have the warship there, and many other military just outside Venezuela. So are they prepared to attack or not? We should know soon. Anyway, Venezuela has been the foe of the US for decades. In the recent years, the country has slipped to economic distress, violence, and autocracy. An Iraq-style ground invasion or occupation is very unlikely, but a military campaign against Venezuela could involve airstrikes and raids targeting Venezuela's drug cartels, or potentially the government itself. As we know, Trump was to Maduro gone. Since the early fall, the US has been building up its military force in the Caribbean and launching airstrikes on alleged drug boats, fueling speculation that it is planning a major military operation against the government of Venezuela. President Donald Trump said on Saturday that the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela should be considered closed, but he didn't explain us why. Trump said last week that US will very soon begin taking action against suspected Venezuela drug traffickers on land. Given that US considers Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro to be head of the narco-terrorist cartel, this could very well include action against Venezuela government and military. I'm sure that the CIA and some other land forces, they're already in Venezuela. For sure, they are gathering intelligence, preparing for a plan of action. It's not a secret. We understand how the USA try to operate. They gather outside, ready for the military attack if it's needed. But I'm sure they already have people inside gathering intelligence, probably the CIA inside Venezuela, and try to, have a plan of action. But the last streams we also said that we believe that in case the USA attack Venezuela, Venezuela's will be doing guerrilla tactics in order to defend themselves. So here says Trump recently spoke by phone with Maduro, and according to the Miami Herald, told him he could save himself and his family by giving up power and leaving the country. Also, the Washington Post, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth authorized a second strike to kill survivors of an initial attack of a suspected drug boat on September 2nd. An action legally experts say could be considered murder under laws of armed conflict. So we have here the inside conflict between, actually the conflict it's in the USA between the Republicans and Democrats. Republicans say they are doing what the president is allowed to do what he's doing. The Democrats say that he's not authorized, or he don't have the authorization because he needs first approval from the Congress in order to attack other country or their boats in the sea. Anyway, so let's see what's going on. Okay, let me move this here so I can see. Okay. So as we know, there's no any confirmed military action yet, but Trump said that Maduro's days are numbered. It's been a straight shot of march to war, in which some of the justifications simply don't make much sense, and the ultimate goal of the president anyway is clear. But how did we get there? So here the article is trying to analyze how we got it up to this point. So the U.S. carried out his first strike against tugboat on September 2nd in the Caribbean between Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago. This is why we have the cameras on the other stream. Camera 6 and 7, it's actually on that area. Since then, 20 more boats have been destroyed in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, killing more than 80 people in what Hedgett has dubbed Operation Southern Spear. You can say the opinion in the comments. You know, I look at the comments also when I'm doing the stream. Though Trump has not sought congressional authorization of military action, is likely to do so. The White House appeared to be making case for action by designating Venezuela's cartel de los Soles as a terrorist organization, identifying them Maduro as its leader. It says here it's a term used. The cartel de los Soles is not strictly speaking a cartel. It's a term used by Venezuela's for senior political and military leaders in Venezuela who are involved in a range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking. In other words, by the traditional logic, the Venezuela state itself is a terrorist organization. So here the article is analyzing if the US is about to go war with Venezuela. Okay, the military compare, we know that US has way more firepower, and it can continue blowing up boats. And an aircraft carrier is not particularly suited to a counter-narcotics mission. It's well suited for an air campaign targeting Venezuela, however. Experts at the Center of Strategic International Studies, CSIS, point out that the fort is a use it or lose it asset. Only about a third of America's 11 aircraft carriers are at the sea at any given time, and demand for them is high in hot zones like the Middle East and Indo-Pacific. If the Trump administration wants to do something with all the firepower it has built up, the clock is ticking. In some ways, the status around the situation is analogous to the days prior to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, when many political experts believe a war made little sense from Russia's perspective, but the amount of military hardware being assembled was simply too much to deny. Okay, I'm trying to get the most important points from this article. Venezuela has opposed U.S. influence in Latin America and allied serving U.S. adversaries like Cuba, Iran, Russia, and numerous militant groups opposed to U.S. policy. Since 2013, when Chavez died and Maduro succeeded him, Venezuela's oil-dependent economy has been in a tailspin with hyperinflation and mass unemployment. Organized crime and corruption is rampant. The government has cracked down on opposition parties and civil society. Venezuelans have become the world's largest refugee population. Venezuela has also become a major transshipment point for Andean cocaine bound for the US, West Africa, and Europe. Says Trump initially, when he returned to office, he looked like he was going to have a more productive relationship with Maduro, seeking deals on detained U.S. citizens, refugee returns, and access to U.S. firms to Venezuela's oil fields. You know that Venezuela has a huge amount of crude oil on their possession, and they are not really exporting at the moment a lot of it. I think like 1% I was reading last time. Yeah, let's see Venezuela's crude oil numbers. Let's just do it a fast search here. Okay, the oil reserves in Venezuela. The proven oil reserves in Venezuela are recognized as the largest in the world, totaling 300 billion barrels as of January 2014. As of 2006, Venezuela was one of the largest suppliers of oil to the United States, sending about 1.4 million barrels per day to the US. In October 2007, Venezuela government said the reserve was 100 billion barrels. That's history, okay? 2008, you had net oil exports of I don't even know this number, 189 MBBD. It's about 189,000 trigonal meters. Okay. Here has a comparison to Saudi Arabia. Oil reserves. That's Venezuela, that's Saudi Arabia. It's much less Saudi Arabia, but it looks it's been growing from after 2010 and up. Let's do dark theme. Venezuela has reported proven reserves topping those reported by Saudi Arabia. Industry analysts has suggested that these numbers reflect variables driven by changes in crude oil market price, indicate that the percent of Venezuela's oil that qualifies Venezuela proven reserve may be driven up or down by the global market price for crude oil. Thank you, Elisha Botrobi. Okay, so the big question now being about the second strike on vessel, if it was legal or not legal, and the White House actually confirmed that the second did happen. So let's see it here. What's this article? It's by The Guardian. White House said that the second strike vessel was legal and conducted in self-defense. In which I have also the, I'm sure it was here a video of the article of the hit, but no, not here. Okay. President Trump's Secretary Hedges has made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. Leavitt said of the target attack, in which the Defense Secretary reported to officials to kill everybody after two survivors were identified after the initial strike. Adam Bradley worked well with his authority and the law directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place, because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations, the press secretary added. So because they did consider this these organizations who are bringing trucks in the States as a terrorist organization, that's actually since the change of the law in September, after September 11th, for the war of terrorists. So it's considered, President Trump considered this to be that he has all the right to attack them without having any approval from the Congress. So, and they say it was self-defense. That's how they worded. Levi said today that strike was conducted in self-defense to protect America's invaded United States interests. She also noted that the strike was conducted in international waters in accordance with the law of armed conflict. The strikes on alleged drug carrying boats in the Caribbean have killed more than 80 people and targeted at least 20 more boats, according to the Washington Post. Okay, another article here. This is from the CBS News. And Trump to meet with Rubio, Hedges, top allies, top aides on Venezuela. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hedges are scheduled to attend what sources describe as a decisional meeting regarding the next steps in the escalated pressure campaign against the Maduro regime. Trump said recently he's spoken with Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, while the U.S. President has also built up a significant military force in the region as a part of what he's described as an anti-drug campaign against the cartel his administration has taken as terror groups. The State Department has taken Maduro himself as a terrorist. CNN was the first to report the meeting. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed Monday that the president will be meeting with his national security team on Venezuela and on many matters. The Washington Post reported Friday that Hedges gave a verbal order to leave no survivors in the first U.S. strike on a suspected drug smuggling boat in the Caribbean. The U.S. attack on the vessel was announced by Mr. Trump on September 2nd. The Post reported the strike left 2 survivors in the water, and the commander of the operation then ordered a second strike to comply with Hedges' directive, killing the survivors. The first strike was very lethal, it was fine, and if there were 2 people around. The president reported on Air Force One, but Pete said that didn't happen. I have a great confidence in him. It was fine, and if there were 2 people around. Last week, Mr. Trump warned that Venezuela airspace should be considered closed, and Venezuela said the U.S. had unilaterally suspended its migrant repatriation flights and wants to undermine the sovereignty of its airspace. The Trump administration says it's aiming to stop the trucks from being smuggled into the U.S., while Venezuela says Mr. Trump seeks Maduro's ouster. Over the past several weeks, the U.S. has moved a number of military ships to the West Atlantic and the Caribbean and reopened a naval base in Puerto Rico. Yeah, let's see about the base. A U.S. naval base in Puerto Rico that was closed more than 20 years ago is now back in operation as the United States beat up forces in the Caribbean ahead of possible military action against Venezuela. So that abandoned base for more than 20 years, it's actually now back to operation in Puerto Rico, in Ceiba, Puerto Rico. Okay, let's see what is that. How close is to the... How close to Venezuela? Let's fly there. Okay, it's actually opposite, separated by the sea. Here it's Ceiba in Puerto Rico, where they opened the base that was closed more than 20 years ago. Ceiba here. Let's see if we can see actually the base where it could be. It looks to be an airport lane here. As the airport, Jose Aponte de la Torre Airport. Okay, it will not be easy to find just a base like that, but let's see the distance from Ceiba. Ceiba is down here to Venezuela. Here it's Ceiba in Puerto Rico, where they opened the base, and here it's Venezuela. Let's see the rule in meters from here to the Caracas. That's 2 kilometers. The distance is 847 kilometers. 847 kilometers from the naval base in Puerto Rico, Ceiba, to the Caracas. That's not far. They can hit them with missiles from there. Just separated by the sea. Okay. So the naval station in Roosevelt Road was closed in 2004 after having been in operation since 1943. But the Roosevelt Road base has been reopened and is now one of 5 locations where U.S. forces are operating in Puerto Rico, an American territory strategically positioned north of Venezuela. Samuel Rivera Base, the mayor of Ceiba, the town where the base is located, told CBS News that the F-35s wake him up in the mornings. So we have the mayor waking up in the mornings from the noise of the F-35s. I don't know, of those who you hear the F-35 passing above you, the noise and the way they shake the windows and everything, it's really, it could be terrifying for most people. Last time we had here in Cyprus F-35s passing above us, my daughter panicked. She told me what's happening. The whole school was like shaking. And we had them here very close to us because of actually in Paphos there's a military base with and was an exercise, a military exercise, and there was some F-35s flying that day, and the noise was making big difference on any other place I hear so far. The mayor says, I feel tense, kind of anxious, not knowing what is going to happen, maybe an attack of someone else. Leon. The military presence is drawing notice from Puerto Rico's locals like Damian Leon. He said this Damian Leon that he was feeling tense and anxious of not knowing what's going to happen, maybe an attack of someone close.
At Black Roses 750 has become a member. Over 2 years I have been on this journey with all of you. Enjoyed to have met all of you.
Thank you, Black Rose, for being part of us. Let me put the super chat on the screen. Okay, here we go. Just so here. So as the U.S. conducts live fire exercise in the region, Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, whom the U.S. wants to remove from power, spoke out against what he called threats of an invasion. Raise your hand if you want Venezuela to become Yankee colony. Maduro told a crowd on Thursday. Yankee colony, okay. On Wednesday, senior military officials briefed President Trump with up-to-date options for potential operations in Venezuela, including strikes on land, according to multiple sources familiar with the meetings at the White House. On Friday, let me put on the screen. On Friday, Mr. Trump had more discussions at the White House on situation with Venezuela. 3 sources familiar with CBS News. Among those in the room, those discussions were Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Peter Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane. It marked at least the 3rd day in a row that senior White House officials had discussions with Mr. Trump on Venezuela. So it looks like they're getting ready for action, or they're looking at the plan of action. Yankee. Yeah, Maduro said actually on a speech he had, he said, here it is, raise your hand if you want Venezuela to become a Yankee colony. He told, Maduro told crowd on Thursday. Yes, and congratulations for 2 years being with us, Black Rose. Thank you. Appreciate it. So the base now it's active, and base that was closed more than 2 years from a CAPA. I don't know if I say right, CEPA, not CAPA. CEPA in Puerto Rico. Here it's a base, and as we measured it, it's about 800 some kilometers away from Venezuela. Yeah, the CEPA in Puerto Rico. On Sunday, Democrats sent Tim Kaine of Virginia said they reported U.S. follow-on strike on alleged drug boat earlier this year rise to the level of a war crime if it's true. If that reporting is true, it's clear violation of the DOD's own laws of war, as well as international laws about the way you treat people who are in that circumstance. Kaine said on Face the Nation with Margaret Brenner. Okay, another article here from New York Times. Lawmakers suggest follow-up boat strike could be a war crime. You have preview. The Republicans have joined Democrats in demanding answers about the escalating military campaign the Trump administration says is aimed at targeting drug traffickers. A top Republican Democrats in Congress suggested on Sunday that American military officials might have committed a war crime if in President Trump's offensive against boats in the Caribbean after news reported that the during of such attack a follow-up strike was ordered to kill survivors. So what they are focusing here is a focus on the second strike. After the first strike, it was 2 survivors, and they throw another missile to kill the 2 survivors. That's what they are focusing. That was acted illegally. The remarks came in response to a report on Friday that said the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had given a verbal order to kill everyone aboard boats suspected of smuggling drugs, and that is led a military commander to carry out a second strike to kill those who had initially survived an attack in early September. Okay, I'm not going to go to the politics and the laws here. Let's keep going about it. Senior Team Gain, Virginia, CBS. Okay, let's jump to a different little bit subject about Donald Trump. The White House doctor released results of Trump's preventative MRI after weeks of speculation. The physician, Dr. Sin Parpadella, released a memo describing the October exam as standard and its finding as a perfectly normal. As part of President Donald Trump's physical advance imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. So they show us here the certificates. What is this? President Trump speaks. Okay, the White House President list of MRI. Here is the results. It was sent to Carol Leavitt in White House Press Secretary. Purpose of the image is preventative, to identify any issues early and confirm overall health. So they are telling us that everything was perfect. There is no evidence of arterial narrowing impairing the blood flow of abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. Let's show us here an MRI machine. Okay, let's go to the floods in Indonesia, Sri Lanka. Let's fly to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Okay, here is Sri Lanka. This is big island here. You can call it an island. It's huge. Okay, huge, not say. So, floods in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Vietnam. Here is Sri Lanka. Thailand. Here, on the right of Sri Lanka, it's Thailand. We're gonna learn geography here with this style, which is good. And Vietnam, it says Cambodia, Vietnam should be somewhere here. Yeah, Vietnam, it's here. Here, Vietnam, Thailand. Oops. Okay. We have Vietnam here, Thailand, and Sri Lanka here. So all the floods on this area were most affected, from Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam. Over 1,200 people have died. So floods have killed at least 1,200 in Southern Asia. Hundreds more were still missing. Millions and millions have been displaced in the rain-detached region, with Sri Lanka and Indonesia hit particularly hard. At least 1,200 people have been killed in floods that have ravaged Southern Asia over the past few weeks, with hundreds more still missing and millions displaced across the region. It was more particularly devastating in Indonesia and Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan president said on Monday that the island nation was facing the largest and most challenging natural disaster in our history. At least 160 are also dead in Thailand, and about 90 in Vietnam. Also, the heavy rain is common in Southern Asia around this time of the year. Residents and officials say that these storms have been particularly destructive. This year, monsoon has been usually intense, partly because of La Nina. Experts say a weather phenomenon in which strong winds push warm water across the Pacific toward East Asia created conditions for storms to form. And let's go back to the Washington, D.C. About the Afghan suspected in this National Guard attack appeared to suffer personal crisis. Members of the law enforcement, including the U.S. Secret Service and the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, respond to a shooting near the White House on November 26. Two West Virginia National Guard members were shot blocks from the White House. When Rahmanullah Lakanwal came to the US from Afghanistan, he appeared lively and full of hope, but over the course of years, he slipped into isolation and was prone, this is one of the shooters, the isolation was prone to taking cross-country drives without telling his family, according to the volunteer who worked closely with his family. Lakanwal, an Afghan national, is accused of shooting two National Guard soldiers on November 26. One of those soldiers, 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, died from her wounds. On Monday, West Virginia government of West Virginia described the other guardsman, 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, as in serious condition. My biggest concern was that Lakanwal would harm himself. I worried he would be suicidal because he was so withdrawn. The volunteers spoke with NPR on condition of anonymity because they said they fear for their safety and the safety of others in the volunteer community because of possible retaliation for having worked with Afghan refugees, including the Lakanwals. Okay, here where he met him and stuff. Okay, he spent most of his time. He said about him that he was spending the Lakanwal, the shooter. He spends most of his time in his darkened bedroom, not speaking to anyone, not even his wife and not the kids. I personally believe that Mr. Lakanwal is suffering from both PTSD and from his work with the US military in Afghanistan. But he said it was no sign of radicalization. Instead, they described as an individual who seemed to be experiencing a deepening personal crisis, complicated. Okay, so he had his issue. This is photo. He came to US in 2021. And served in one of the Afghanistan's elite counter-terrorism units, according to the Afghan EVAC, a non-profit, I suppose, Afghan refugees run by the US. Okay. CIA Director Ratcliffe said in a statement last week that the shooter involved in the attack was submitted to the US due to his prior work with the US government, including CIA. Okay. So basically, the shooter had his own issues, and it looks like I don't get it. He just decided to attack the National Guards outside Washington. In Washington, I mean, the White House. I'm trying to see if there's anything else worth mentioning on this news. There's a photo here of the U.S. Navy cruiser U.S. Lake Erie docking at the port of Balboa in Panama City in August 29 as part of the broader U.S. naval build-up in Venezuela. You can see the boat here. Here. Okay, I have a video of the attack here. Yeah, this is a boat that was attacked. I'm not sure I can show this, the strike. That was on Truth Social posted by Trump. was a post on X on Friday by Hedgeth. Let's cover it. As usual, this by Secretary of War Pete Hedgeth. As usual, the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. As we have said from the beginning and in every statement, these highly effective strikes are specifically intended to be lethal kinetic strikes. The declared intent is to stop lethal trucks, destroy narco boats, and kill the narco terrorists who are poisoning the American people. Every trafficker we kill is affiliated with a designated terrorist organization. The Biden administration preferred the kid gloves approach, allowing millions of people, including dangerous cartels and unvetted Afghans, to flood our communities with drugs and violence. The Trump administration has sealed the border and gone on the offense against narco terrorists. Biden called terrorists, we kill them. Our operations in the Caribbean are lawful under both U.S. and international law, with all actions in compliance with the law of armed conflict and approved by the best military and civilian lawyers, up and down the chain of command. Our warriors in Southcom put their lives on the line every day to protect the homeland from the narco terrorists, and will always have their back. If you are not following me on X, please follow. Busy to Fight, it's DD Cyprus1Click on Twitter, on X. Okay, I just reposted that. Hedger received a backlash on social media after he posted on his personal to be an AI-generated image of the children's book character Franklin with the title Franklin targets narco terrorists. It shows Franklin, a turtle, standing on edge of a helicopter aiming a machine gun at boats allegedly carrying drugs. This is on the X. Yeah, this is probably an AI created. Of course it's an AI, it must be. Or someone had the time to draw this. And it shows a turtle shooting, Franklin. Okay. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I didn't have time to organize for this stream, to be honest. I just did it on a rush. I hope you will be able to. I hope we gave some value, and I'm glad to see the comments if anybody has any comments. Thank you. Okay, so please subscribe to the channel. You can join us, become a member. Many of you already did. Thank you all for becoming a member. Join us for special perks, for exclusive live streams. We're gonna keep doing more streams like this one. As we go along, of course, we're gonna improve, more organized. And I'm trying to bring you the news, if possible, on daily basis, or maybe we're gonna do weekly ones. We see, but your support, it's of course appreciated. So subscribe to the channel, join us as a member, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you all for being here with us today. If any comments on the chat, otherwise I will stop the stream, and we should have another one when it's more breaking news. If possible, I would like to do this daily. We'll see how it goes. So I will redirect you now to the Venezuela cameras we have for 24/7 live streams. We have the Venezuela port. It's a panning and tilting and zooming camera. Another two cameras on the Trinidad and Tobago islands, right next to Venezuela. And also we're showing the flight radar above Venezuela. So thanks for joining, and see you on the next one. And don't forget to press the like button, subscribe. Thank you.